We continue this afternoon's press conference. We have head coach Pascal Jansen. If we have any questions, please raise your hand. Get started with Roberto.
Pascal, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
It's been a couple of months.
Yeah.
What's new?
Nothing much.
There's got to be something new.
No, we're getting ready to get started again. So we're looking forward to starting the league games again and continue the MLS. And that's about it.
You have a lot of injuries, and you also have a couple of new players, prominent players. So can you give us an update on what is going on with the people who can't be here and the ones who can, and the new players, James and Benny?
Yeah, well, let's start with the positive. James and Benny have joined the team, and we were looking forward to their arrival. Jimmy, of course, is well known at this club, so he's returned from his loan spell in the Bundesliga, and Benny just joined us recently, coming off a season in Switzerland. So he's getting ready in order to be able to play 90 minutes as soon as possible. And the less positive news is a couple of injuries. Yeah. There's a few guys came back from the World Cup that needed surgery. That's something that we anticipated, obviously, because we were in contact with them and the Australian national team during the World Cup. So it was a possibility that they would come out of the tournament and straight away go into surgery. Kevin O'Toole is heading back, looking good. I think he will be joining group sessions again shortly, maybe in a week and a half or so. So that's good. Who else do we have? Alonso is known, still doing his rehab, but looking good. He's on schedule. Did I forget anybody?
Keaton Parks, Talles Magno.
Yeah, Talles is back, so he isn't injured. And Keats dropped out in the game against Columbus for the Cup in the warm-up session. And he is about to return to training, so that looks positive as well.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the injuries to Keaton and especially to Trowan and O'Neill, and how long do you expect them to be out?
We anticipate Kai to be out a little longer. Surgery's been done. Had a minor fracture in his foot, so he needed surgery. Aiden had his ankle cleaned up. Looks good in the sense of some work that had to be done eventually. Looks like he'll be back hopefully in 4 to 6 weeks. Who was the other one?
Keaton.
Oh, Keats. Yeah. No, like I said, he's about to return to training, so that is looking positive.
Alex?
Hi, Coach. So, wrapping up the World Cup yesterday and having experienced it in your home, New York, and having so many of these matches, including the final played just across the Hudson, did you have a particular highlight from the tournament or anything that you experienced in New York that was a highlight for you during the tournament?
Not necessarily in New York. The tickets that we were able to get went to the rest of the staff members, so they enjoyed a couple of games in Jersey. Myself, I flew out to Kansas and watched the game between Tunisia and the Dutch, which was a fun game to be at. Nice stadium, got a taste of the atmosphere, and I enjoyed it very much. But I haven't watched the game in Jersey. I just watched those games on telly and enjoyed it in the rest of my home. So that's about it.
Yeah, I think it was cool. I at least saw you on pitch, getting to do a little commentary. It looks like, was there anything that you took from that experience that kind of helps you with like coaching or vice versa?
I did have that experience. I was invited by the Dutch television, and it was a nice opportunity to hook up with a couple of guys that I know from back home, but also a couple of players that I worked with previously in other roles, either in PSV in the academy or in Alkmaar as the head coach. So it was good to see those guys and see them perform at the highest level. And also see that they haven't changed as much from a personality perspective.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
On to the Zoom, we'll go with Scott.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Scott Schertzen, Stream Punk Soccer. Welcome back.
Thank you, Scott. Nice to hear you again.
Missed hearing your voice, sir. So let's address a couple of the rumors out there about possibility of Pulisic and also Lukaku. Is there anything on that right now that you're willing to discuss, or are you going to kind of keep it internal for a bit? Thanks.
Well, I saw some names come by, but there's nothing to comment on, so I can't help you with those, Scott. Sorry.
Chris?
Can I pick up one more? Do you mind?
Go ahead, Scott.
Sorry. In this case, more on the home front. It's been a challenging couple of weeks for Matt Freese after the issue that happened with Belgium. Have you talked to him about that at all? How is he doing right now? And just in general, his thought process. Thank you.
Well, Matty is back in the building as of today. His first session on pitch was with the team today. And he looks bright and he looks very sharp, full of energy again. Obviously, he took some time off once they were eliminated from the tournament. We all know what happened in the game against Belgium. I would say it's part of a life of a football player. These things happen, unfortunately. He has to find a solution, and I know he's capable of doing just that. And we have his back 100%. So we're happy that he's back in the building, and hopefully he'll be ready to perform for us very soon again.
Christian Arnold?
I know Chris was next. If you want to take this one since you were next.
Go ahead, Christian.
I appreciate it. Coach, I just want to kind of bounce off of Scott's question there earlier. Not necessarily about the specific players, but the sort of the active rumors with the club being linked to so many different names. So I'm kind of curious, just in your conversations with the front office, are you anticipating sort of busy transfer window obviously over the summer and then possibly going into the new stadium? Has those conversations come up in terms of how active the club's going to be going forward, especially with the move to Queens rapidly approaching?
Yeah, I understand where the interest comes from, and sometimes when I see some socials come by, I see some names come by. The only thing I know, Chris, is that we have an open communication line with the back office, the recruitment, Todd, myself, making sure that we stick to our plan. And our plan has been the same since I joined this project in 25, to use every transfer window to become more competitive and create a roster that is able to compete for trophies, be as successful as we can be going into the new stadium, and be even more successful once we're in the stadium. So that is the plan from day one. And we stick by that plan, which also means that this summer window has been looked at to see where the squad needs improvement or reinforcement. So I see the names come by, but I'm not able to comment on any name, especially because we don't bring out any names anyway. And we have to wait until something is there to announce, and then you'll be the first to hear about it.
Hey, gotcha. I appreciate that.
Right.
I also wanted to ask, you mentioned, on Alonso's return and kind of the timetable. I'm curious, what is the official timetable you guys are looking at to get him back on the pitch? Just to kind of a better idea of where he stands right now.
Well, what I can say is if you come back from an ACL injury like Rodri did and becoming the best player of the World Cup, then that is the time we need in order to get Alonso back as well, because this is a serious injury. And of course there's a timetable, but everybody is different, and you have to respect that as well, and respect the injury and the rehab time for that. He's in a good place. He's looking bright and sharp in the training sessions that he's allowed to do just yet. And that's what we focus on day by day.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Welcome.
Chris?
Hey, Coach. Chris Campbell from the outfield.
Hi, Chris.
You have James Sands returning from loan, and then the addition of Benny Traore. Just curious, what your thoughts are on how each of them fit into the squad positionally, and do they impact what you think of, other players positionally, such as maybe a Nico Fernandez, Mercado, or others? Thank you.
Yeah, they will impact others, and they have had their impact already since they arrived with us. Obviously, Benny is a very versatile attacker, can play either three positions up front, can play as a double striker also. He fits the profile that we were looking for exactly. So we're very happy that he's joined, and if you see how the chemistry is being built between him and Nico Mercado, is fascinating to watch also. So we have good and healthy expectations of his contribution to the team. Jimmy, however, like I mentioned earlier to Roberto, is back in the building. He's been here previously, It's my first time working with Jimmy, but I have the benefit of having a staff that has worked with Jimmy previously. So they informed me a lot about what he added to the team when he was here. So for me, it was very interesting to see with my own eyes and feel it out what that exactly is. And Jimmy hasn't disappointed me so far, not one bit, because he is that versatile player that we were looking for also to help us in several positions. And that is very interesting because Jimmy is very open to learn more and very engaged as well. So it makes it very fascinating to work with both of them.
Christian?
Hi, Coach. Welcome back, first and foremost.
Thank you, Christian.
You touched on James there. He's in a somewhat unique situation that he's familiar with the club, but as he said himself, the leadership has changed. From a coaching perspective, how do you integrate someone like that by making them feel comfortable to introduce new ideas?
Yeah, good question. That starts off with having clear and open communication with Jimmy himself. So from the moment he arrived, he was curious about me, curious about the dressing room, curious about the changes in the club, so he could make his own judgment. So we've been having our talks on a regular basis and making sure he gets up to speed with the ideas that I have as a coach and where I see his qualities fit the team and his ideas on what he sees in the team and where he can add things. And that is something that's gone in good conversation, and so far the chemistry is perfect. I'm enjoying him on the training pitch. We've had a couple of friendly games where he showed a couple of things that we were working on. So all satisfied until now, and hopefully we can continue this now.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Pascal, Chris Campbell once again. Looking at Columbus, you faced them twice before. Had one good result, one poor result, and now you've had the World Cup break to work on things. How do you see the match, coming out on Wednesday, your first match back against a team you've already faced twice?
Yeah, interesting. I wouldn't say a poor result. It was a result that we weren't hoping for because we were still in a cup tournament hoping to get through to the next round. Obviously, we had the confidence of having that game played in New York with the 3-0 win. But then there was a coach change also on the side of Columbus. A few details changed in how they set up and how their playing idea was in the second match. But if you go back to that cup game, we had multiple moments that we should have put ourselves on the scoreboard as well. Unfortunately, we lost that game. But it also helps us prepare better for this game, the return in the MLS game. So we're all looking forward to this game. Hopefully we can get off to a good start and make a perfect game going forward.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. MLS is back to our pre-match press conference for a game against Columbus Crew. We have midfielder James Sands. If we have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll go with Roberto.
James, welcome back. So just a quick question. How are you feeling and what's it like to be back?
Yeah, I feel really good. Physically I'm in a good place now. It's been nice to have, a 3-4 week lead in to our first game. So I've been able to build some fitness, get to know the guys a little bit. So I'm feeling good, and yeah, I'm really happy to get going again. It's a good group. I've enjoyed working with Pascal so far, so yeah, just happy to be back at it.
Can you tell us what the biggest differences are between the club, how you find it now versus when you went to St. Pauli?
I think obviously the leadership of the club is different. When I was last here, it was David Lee and Nick Cushing, and now it's Todd and Pascal. And as I said, I've really enjoyed being on the pitch with Pascal. He's very demanding, but completely fair in what he wants, and I think that's how a coach should be. So I think that's been a big difference, and also a lot of the players are new. I'm getting to know Nico. He's a big part of the team. Benny now is coming in, so for me, there's a little bit of an adjustment period and getting comfortable with the guys. But I've enjoyed getting to know everyone.
It seems that the way everything's been presented, that this is like a longer stay for you. It's not like just be here for a little bit and then try to get back to Europe. Is that accurate, or how do you feel about the situation?
Yeah, it's hard to know in this career, how the future is going to play out. I would say now I feel like I've had good experiences in Europe. I've kind of, seen what I wanted to see both at Rangers and St. Pauli. So, I'm never going to close that door for certain, but, I think now is such a good time to be in New York. We're going to have our stadium next year. We've invested a lot in the team, and I think we're going to be good in the years to come. So, I'm happy here for the time being.
Last one for me, so I can let other people ask questions. But with the game against Columbus, how do you see the game?
Yeah, Columbus is always a team that's very good with the ball. So for us, I think first and foremost, it's about being compact defensively and trying to make sure we can play the way we want to. And we do have some injuries at the minute, so it's about guys getting on the same page quickly. And I think it'll be a tough match, but I think we can go into every MLS match, expecting to get a result.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alex?
Hi, James. What's the New York experience you were craving most when you got back here?
I get that question a lot, or what I missed about being in the U.S. I think, delis. Being able to go to a deli and order a sandwich, it's not really a European thing.
Yeah.
So I really did miss that a lot.
Do you have a favorite deli you want to shout out?
No, because then everyone's going to go. I got to keep that private. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Maybe you can text me later so I can check it out.
Yeah, I will.
On to the Zoom, we'll go with Chris.
Hey James, Chris Cameron from the outfield. First, great to see you back on these press conferences. Just curious, where have you been training most as you've rejoined the team, whether it be center back, left center back, middle center back in the back three, or back at the midfield?
So far I've done a little bit of everything. One of the first friendlies we had, I played in midfield. And then another one of them I played left center back. So right now I'm kind of doing both. But I think it's gonna, I think I've shown in my time here that I can do both roles. I've played midfield most recently in Germany, and I think at the end of the day it's gonna come down to what the team needs, and I'm really happy filling in either role.
Glenn?
Hey James, welcome back, man. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, talking about midfield, I'm curious how closely you watch somebody like Rodri, who was just absolutely fantastic for Spain and maybe epitomizes the way the position should be played. Is that something that you watch pretty closely?
Yeah, I've long thought that he's been, the top midfielder in that kind of role, whether it was with Man City or with Spain, and even Atletico Madrid before that. He's been, doing it at that level for a long time. And, as someone who plays that role, I like that he's able to kind of bring a spotlight on that position. It often goes unnoticed, and even a lot of the work he does, people who don't know the game don't necessarily see it. So it's nice to see him getting all that recognition, and he's a guy that I really look up to, and I try and take bits from his game for sure.
What's an example of a particular thing you were talking about in that position that maybe goes unheralded or unnoticed?
Yeah, I think with him for sure, but the whole Spanish team is how they repress the ball. Everybody sees how good they are in possession, but they're able to be that good in possession because they win it back so quickly. If you're not able to win it back in the first 6-7 seconds, then you've got to run long distances. It takes a lot out of you. And I think he's so good at, kind of proactive defending and being there to win the ball when the team needs it.
All right, thanks, man.
Yep.
Chris, go ahead.
Hey James, Chris Cameron from the outfield again. Curious, how have you seen your game grow during your time away and now returning back to MLS?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the Bundesliga is a very different league to MLS, and it asked for different things, and especially the club I was at. A lot of the games we had to kind of sit in and soak up a lot of pressure. So I think as a player, it's good to go through that because you learn to play a different way. And I mostly played in center midfield with them, but it was a bit more of a box to box role because we had 3 center backs behind me. So it gave me a bit more freedom to move around. I think as a student of the game, I enjoy playing in different systems and learning how to compete. And over there, it's all about results. So I think that was something I really enjoyed.
And what are you looking to continue to grow, work on as you get back into the swing of things here in New York?
Yeah, I think it depends a little bit on what role I'm playing for the team. But I think regardless of it, if it's midfield or in central defense, I think leadership is always a big thing with me. I can always do a better job communicating. And especially now coming back, I have some, experiences at a high level in Europe. I can, really help the young guys out more. And, being a senior player on this team, I think it's my job to, give that advice when it's needed. So that's definitely an area I think I can step up and improve in.
Glenn?
Thanks. You mentioned the new stadium. I'm just curious how much of that was an enticement even. I mean, for someone who starts with the program as the first homegrown, and then you move from there and, you're back and forth a little bit, but, having played at Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, other venues, but now to have this home, how much does that mean to you personally and for the club?
Yeah, I think it's massive for both me and the club. Because I've been here with the club for so long, I've been to a lot of different venues. I've been to Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, been to Connecticut, Red Bull Arena. So I've kind of done them all. And to now have a place in New York to call home is going to be special. And, I really think my journey with the club, I've had such a good start, being the first homegrown, having won something in 2021. But I feel like my story here is only half finished. And, I hope the next however many years I can, win more trophies and have more really good memories. And to do those things in a soccer-specific stadium in New York would be, it would mean the world to me.
Christian?
Thanks, Bob.
Christian?
James, Christian Arnold with the New York Post. I was curious, was this always the idea to come back to New York City and come back to this club? Maybe talk me through a little bit of the decision-making process and getting back to this point and being back in with New York City.
No, I would not say it was always a given. I think when you get to the end of any season, you kind of have to evaluate where you are, in a professional capacity as a player, but also from your personal life. And, I so much enjoyed my experience in Germany and playing for St. Pauli. It's an incredible club, but I felt I was at a kind of a point in my career and my life when I, wanted to be with a club I call home. I wanted to be close to my family, and those were kind of big considerations for me. But I would not say I went into the loan thinking I would come back or knowing, but I'm happy it's worked out this way, and I really believe things happen for a reason. So I'm happy here now.
Was there a point, I guess, maybe before that, during the season, whatever it may be, that you kind of started to feel like, hey, playing closer to home is probably the better decision, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but kind of maybe was there a certain point that, you started to skew in a direction of coming back here?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part of that?
Sorry, no, it was just, was there a point in time that you felt like this was the right place that you should be playing this year?
Maybe not a specific point in time. I think going through the injuries was really tough for me. When you're in Europe, you're far away from home, you're far away from your family. But when you're playing week in, week out, in the top league, really nothing beats that. But then when that's not happening and you're, sitting in the gym alone doing the rehab, you have a lot of moments where you think, I would like to be closer to home. I'd like to be, in a club that I love and, that I've started at. So I think the injuries made me think a little bit about what's really important, and yeah.
And then I'm curious too. You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but Pascal and sort of the new front office staff here as well. What's it been like to kind of get to know them, and kind of what did they explain that your role was going to be with the club going forward?
Yeah, it's my first time working with Pascal, but I kept in touch with some of the guys here even when I was gone, so I had a pretty good idea of what he was like as a coach, and being here has only confirmed that. And he's really, as far as I can tell so far, he's really the kind of coach that I want to play for. He's demanding. He's going to make me a better player. So I think that's been great. As far as my role, he's kind of let me, settle in and figure it out over the first couple weeks. I think he's, put an emphasis on not overloading me with too much information right away. But I think as the games start to come, my role will start to be clearer.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.